Next we have Carl Forster.
Superintendent Sheehan. My name is Carl Forster. I live at 2536 Laughlin Avenue in La Crescenta. I have two children who are students at Mountain Avenue Elementary, so you can probably guess what agenda item I'd like to comment on. First of all, I must say that I feel very lucky to have Mountain Avenue Elementary in my neighborhood. It's a truly wonderful school, and we have an amazing principal, Miss Witt. And one of the reasons why I'm here giving comment is that I'm a little bit concerned about the changes that are coming down the line to Mountain. I think it's definitely a very good idea to be in discussion with the La Crescenta board about changing the boundaries for the sagebrush area in La Crescenta and allowing students there to return to La Crescenta. I have no issue, La Cañada, sorry. I have no issues with that. And I'd also like to thank Dr. Sheehan for coming to the PTA meeting last week. A lot of questions were asked, and you stayed for a long time and answered lots of questions, some of them over and over again. But I would just like to say that this issue has come up very quickly for us. We only really heard about it a couple of weeks ago, and it seems that a decision may be made fairly soon on this. And we'd like to make sure that there is sufficient time for the parents of students at Mountain to give comments about the proposed changes, whether the school stays as it is and the permits are relaxed in the area to allow more students to come into the school to make up the numbers, whether the school changes to a STEM or STEAM or a flag. We'd like to have a bit more time to have more discussions and to maybe give our suggestions for which way we'd like to see the school go. And that's all I have. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Tom Smith.
Good evening, Dr. Sheehan and school board members. My name is Tom Smith. I live at 5524 Ocean View Boulevard, and I'm actually here to speak about the same item, the transfer of the territory over into the La Cañada School District. I am actually the chair of Unite LCF. I was approached by a group of neighbors probably back in the early spring, not too long after I had retired from NBC Universal. I think they all saw that I had too much time on my hand, and they decided to give me an issue that was very important to us as a neighborhood. And since then, I've been diving into the history of this issue, and I was just stunned to find out that this has really been going on for 50 years. And the more that I spoke to the neighbors in my area, and the more I came to understand the commonality of their cause here, which is about cohesiveness for the area. And nobody has concerns whatsoever about the quality of the schools. I've talked to many parents in my neighborhood, which is primarily that sliver on the western edge, and they think Mountain Avenue is a fabulous school. They think Glendale Unified has fabulous schools. But what's lacking, what seems to be lacking for decades now, is the fact that the children and the students that live in this area are now forced to divide their attention, their time, their passions between their school and their community. And more so as time goes on. When I was in school decades ago, we went to school and that was about it. You didn't have this involvement in the civic activities, extracurricular activities from the community itself. And the more I've listened to the parents that had kids go through the school system and felt that sense of division, if you will, the separation between the schools and the community, it definitely left an impression on them. And I think the more and more that we've talked about this, and this discussion's been going on over the years, there's a very strong feeling that it has got to be better for the children. It's got to be a more enriching academic excellence and achievement environment for them to not be forced to separate their attention between those two very important parts of their lives. And so that's why we feel strongly that now is the time to do this. I really appreciate the fact that acrimony has not come into the discussions the way at least I read that it did 20 years ago. And I have to believe that I know that there's issues on both sides. I know that there's strong passions on both sides of this within the area itself, but I got to believe that between this school district and the La Cañada School District, that you can come together and find solutions to what seems to be solvable problems. And now is the time to make this happen. So I would just thank you for your attention. I thank you for the time that you put into this, because I know there's been a lot of thoughtful conversations and discussions, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the outcome of this is. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And next we have Kelly Egerston.
Hello, Board. My name is Kelly Egertson, and I live at 4423 Rockland Place in Montrose. And I am a flag lot, and at the end of my driveway is my neighbor is in the La Cañada sagebrush. So I'm right there on the right on the edge. My children go to Mountain Avenue, and all of our friends, or many of them, are in the sagebrush area. And many of my church members, I know how this cohesiveness is, it is difficult sometimes when you're in an organization and there are separations, different school districts and, a church group trying to work with multiple agendas that way and calendars and such. But I just want to plead with all of you to really consider heavily what this means for students of the Glendale Unified District, namely the Mountain Avenue students. I'm happy to let the La Cañada sagebrush area go where they want to go, but I don't want Mountain Avenue to suffer. I hope that I want to understand if this decision is made to have the La Cañada sagebrush students go with La Cañada. I want to understand how that benefits Mountain Avenue students. I want to know how Mountain Avenue students, the fundamental nature of Mountain Avenue. We bought our house knowing that Mountain Avenue is a very good school, and I don't want that to change. And where we are, we're right on this little area east of Ocean View and below Foothill, and I'm afraid we'll get sent somewhere else if the nature of Mountain Avenue is changed to a science magnet school or a dual immersion program with multiple languages. I just want to know how Mountain Avenue will maintain its high quality. Anyway, I guess that's all I want to say. I thought there would be more here, so more people here, but hopefully I've made my point. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Egerston. And lastly, we have Lourdes Wing.
Good evening, Board President, members of the Board, Dr. Sheehan, and GUSD staff. My name is Lourdes Wong. I live at 4631 Lear Drive in La Cañada, and I am here to speak about the sagebrush issue. I do want to thank our superintendent, Dr. Sheehan, for coming to our PTA meeting last week at Mountain Avenue. It was much appreciated. You did speak at length about the impact to our school and community and the possibilities that any transfer of territory might have to our school. So he did encourage us to come to the meeting, and that's why I'm here. If the transfer of territory does take place and move forward, I do appreciate the discussion that's taken place between GUSD and La Cañada Unified regarding a gradual phase-in of students, so that those who wish to remain in GUSD schools could remain in GUSD schools. I think there are a number of us who feel like GUSD schools have a lot to offer, and that's where we'd like to stay. I think this would cause the least amount of disruption to our students going forward. So I do hope that is part of your consideration. I do also have concerns about the tax implications territory transfer would have, obviously. I would appreciate some information on what those might be, if you have, if you have found what those would be. I do appreciate that my property tax values might go up by, or would go up if we do become La Cañada Unified. However, I certainly don't want to be responsible for paying for both the parcel taxes at La Cañada and the Measure S bond that GUSD has, on top of any hefty contribution that the La Cañada Unified Foundation suggests families donate. That's a large burden. I do also have concerns about what would happen to Mountain Avenue. I've enjoyed being there. Sorry. And I hope it just continues to be a neighborhood school. It has a strong sense of community, and parent participation is very special there. And the idea of having permissible areas where Monte Vista could possibly come to Mountain Avenue, and La Cañada students could still continue to go to Mountain Avenue, I think that would help to maintain that sense of community and neighborhood at Mountain Avenue. And so I do appreciate going forward if Mountain Avenue could have some say in what happens to our school, and feel that it's very important that we do so. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Wong. And thank you, everyone, for being